Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I would really like to read another book today. I wanted to do one yesterday, but got kind of busy. But today we're going to be reading When Butterflies Cross the Sky, The Monarch Butterfly Migration by Sharon Cooper. Monarch butterflies weigh less than a dollar bill, yet every year they migrate up to 2,500 miles from the United States and southern Canada. Butterflies west of the Rocky Mountains fly to the coast of California. Butterflies east of the Rocky Mountains fly to Mexico. No other butterflies travel that far. Flying about 30 miles per day, monarch butterflies make the trip to Mexico in about 2 months. Why is this journey so important to them? So it shows the picture of the butterfly and the map of their migration. Flutter, 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 the butterfly flits from flower to flower. The sun is warm on her wings. She sips nectar with her straw-like tongue and fills herself up. The sweet food will give her energy for the long flight ahead. Fall arrives. The days grow shorter. A cool breeze swishes the leaves. The butterfly knows it's time to head south. She cannot survive the long months of freezing weather here. She needs a warmer winter home. So do the other monarchs. The butterfly joins hundreds of other monarchs in the sky. Air currents lift her so she doesn't have to beat her wings all day, or I should say all the time. She saves energy by gliding. The butterfly will stop to drink nectar and to rest, but she cannot rest long. She's racing the cold. Even though she's never made this journey before, her body knows the way. The butterfly's journey is dangerous. She may not find enough food to eat. She may become too tired to finish the trip. Birds and other animals may try to eat her. Bad weather may slow or stop her. She cannot fly in the rain, and she cannot fly if it gets too cold. Finally, about 2 months later, the butterfly reaches her winter home. The mountains of central Mexico are perfect for her. The air is cold, but not quite freezing. The butterfly can rest and save her energy throughout the winter. The butterfly settles onto a tree. Millions of other butterflies do the same. Blankets of orange and black butterflies cover the trees. And in one of my last videos, I mentioned that they have some really beautiful pictures if you just look it up on the internet. The butterfly is safe for now. She spends the winter resting, clinging to the trees. The trees protect her from predators and bad weather. She drinks water once in a while, but she does not eat much. She stored lots of energy on her journey south. And basically, this is what those trees look like when they're covered. Nothing but black, orange, and white speckled wings. In late February, the butterfly mates. Then it's time to find a place to lay their eggs. There is no milkweed in the mountains of Mexico. The butterflies need milkweed. It's the only plant in which she will lay her eggs. The butterfly knows she has to fly north again. Her journey isn't quite over. She has one last job to do. Now, every once in a while, not very often, but every now and then, the female will lay her eggs on something other than milkweed, but it'll be, I think, plumeria. I think they kind of confuse plumeria and milkweed. The butterfly leaves Mexico with millions of other monarchs. She lays her eggs on milkweed plants as she heads north. Once her eggs are laid, her long journey ends and she dies. And here's some pictures of what you see, that little white speckle, little white spot. That's how small the eggs are. They're really small. I actually have 2 eggs right now on one of these, or 2 of these plants behind me. After a few days, a tiny, hungry caterpillar hatches from each egg. The caterpillars eat lots of milkweed. In about 2 weeks, they're old enough to start changing into adults. They shed their skin and harden into a bright green chrysalis. Great changes happen inside. About 10 days later, new butterflies crawl out. They will soon fly away in search of food, a mate, and a warm summer sun. See how it starts off as an egg, and then a caterpillar, and then it just gets bigger and up. And I actually have some that look like this right now. And pretty soon, either today or tomorrow, they'll be looking like this. And within about 30 minutes, they'll look like this. And I think that's it. They just, in the back of the book, they have some fun facts. Like the diet of butterflies is nectar, sipped through a straw-like tongue called a proboscis. They love milkweed. That's the only plant that they truly enjoy. They have to have it to survive. Let's see. I'm trying to find any other interesting facts I didn't go over in my first video. Okay, I'll go over the glossary. Here's some key terms. Caterpillar is a larva that changes into a butterfly or moth. A caterpillar is the second life stage of a butterfly. The third stage of the butterfly, which is the chrysalis, it's also known as the pupa. And that's that little green thing that I was showing you that I'll be having soon in my butterfly cage. Let's see. Milkweed. It's a plant with milky juice and pointed pods. Monarch butterflies lay eggs on milkweed. Now, milkweed is super important for monarch butterflies, but you must be careful if you do decide to grow these beautiful plants. They're not flowering too much right now. They're getting ready to. I have a couple of different colors. I have the red and orange. It's kind of probably hard to see. They haven't bloomed yet. And then I have the yellow ones, the blood flower, and this one's the silky deep red. But the sap that is inside of these leaves is really poisonous. It's very toxic. If you get it on your skin, it'll be fine as long as you wash it off really quickly with some good soap. And try not to touch your face, because trust me, I've done that before by accident. I got some in my eye and it burned really bad. But they're very hardy plants. They grow very easy. I got these at the one of the nurseries in Lake Charles, and they had quite a lot, but they do eat very fast. Actually, I have, let's see, I can go ahead and try to show y'all the ones that I have right now. Ow. We'll see if I can do this with one hand. Gotta unzip. What I use for my butterfly cage, it's not really a butterfly cage. We plan on making one eventually. We have some materials to do that. But I'm using one of those like zip up hampers, laundry hampers from Walmart, and it's one of those ones where it zips up on 2 ends, so there's never going to just be an opening for these suckers to get out. I have some eating on some plants right now. I don't know if you can see. And then I have the ones, let's see, that are forming. I don't know, it's hard to see them. There we go. There's one that formed a J. That one will be ready soon. And then I have, I think, some more up here that are getting ready. But let's see, I have one that fell down, so I'm going to put it back up here. Now that all that brown stuff at the bottom, that is their poop, also known as frass, which I'm going to have to be cleaning up here soon. It's definitely a dirty job raising these monarchs. It's a lot of stuff to do, cleaning up their poop. It's like having kids, but I mean, some people just prefer to raise them out in nature, let nature take course. Me, I like to get hands-on. I like to move them from plant to plant whenever it's needed. Like I checked my garden this morning and I seen some of them crawling around trying to look for some more milkweed, so I helped them. I moved them myself. Now, they don't bite. Well, I've never had one bite me before in the years that I've been doing this, but they do kind of curl up into a ball and kind of play dead when they don't like to be touched. But I just put them by the plant and I kind of just let them do their thing. It's lots of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's lots of fun. And I'll be watching at least, I have 3 J's right now. I'll be watching at least, I'll be watching at least one of these within the next 24 hours form a chrysalis. So hopefully I'll be able to catch him or her. I'm not sure if it's a male or female yet. Won't know that until the butterfly comes out of its chrysalis, but I will definitely try to get at least one of these films for y'all. This is like my quarantine science project. It's a big part of my life. I do this every season, but it is a pretty cool science project. I learn a little bit every year, so y'all can definitely get involved if you want. You don't have to raise them in cages like I do. Now, if you do decide to do that, even if you just want to raise like a couple and just let the rest kind of do their own thing out in nature, you can. I use like plastic storage containers that have a really good seal on it, and when I have like the eggs or the small caterpillars, of course I put the food in there, and I help one of them out real quick. I put the food in there for them to eat, and I clean up their poop and separate them when they're fighting, because they do that at times. They will kill each other, especially when fighting for food, just like some other species do. Lions do the same thing, you know. Animals of many breeds will fight for their food because, I mean, especially if there's not much there to eat, which I put all 3 of these plants in here yesterday, and one of them is almost, well, 2 of them are almost completely bare, and the other one only has 1 stalk left with leaves on it. So I might have to feed them more later. But most of the ones I have in this cage, the reason why I have them in there is because they're 5th and star. So that means that very next step is when they're going to be forming the chrysalis, and I personally would rather have them in the cage so I can keep an eye on them away from predators. Even though they are poisonous, like if a bird or a lizard eats one, they'll either get very sick or they'll die. But sometimes they'll take a chance and do that, and it's unfortunate, but it's a part of nature. Things happen, but I do try to keep an eye on them as best as I can, feed them. I spoil them a lot. So, and this is, I have some muck boots blocking it so it won't fall over, but this is the hamper, the clothes hamper that I use, and it's got the zipper along this side, and then it's got the handles up top, but then it's also got this zipper up here. And most of the time, from like last year, I had a really hard time getting in because a lot of the caterpillars would, when they're getting ready to molt, they'll form like a little silky web, kind of like a spider does, to kind of get their little area ready so they can be still and shed their skin to get to the next stage. But a lot of the time they do it along the line of the zipper, so I have to try to watch them for that this year. But last year I had, oh man, I want to say I had well over 100 caterpillars last year. But this year I don't have that many, which I'm kind of glad I don't, though, because I don't have enough food for them. So I'm doing the best I can. But definitely, if y'all have any questions, feel free to ask. And I'll be back probably this week again with another story. So y'all have a great Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.